now move on to the climate and safety category. Our first question is, what types of community partnerships could enhance safety programs and resources for students? And again, we will start with Foresight.
So in the Maryland Association of Student Councils, I serve as the school safety liaison to the Maryland Center for School Safety Subcabinet. With that being said, that is known as MCSS, I'm also the chair of our Student Advocates for School Safety Focus Group, which is an organization that all students from the entire state can join. This is a great way for students to get involved with school safety and have influence on school safety policy. It's a way for students to provide insight to legislators and decision makers, state and county-wide, on different policies that they think should be implemented in schools in terms of school safety. I also think a great strategy is working with our Executive Director of School Safety in Baltimore County, Mr. Knox, on talking about school safety policies and initiatives that are going to be beneficial for Baltimore County students. Having some sort of school safety advisory board specifically for the SMOB is also a great way to receive insight from students from all over the entire county.
Thank you. Sophie?
Yes. I'd like to address school safety as it is incredibly important for our students. Too often, school safety sometimes feels like it's not as prioritized or it's sometimes compromised, and we've seen this with recent events and incidents that have happened this year in our own school county. So, ways to mitigate this is preventing the problem before it begins, and this really includes adding more support staff within our schools for students to go to so that we can stop and prevent the problems before they occur. But this also includes more awareness and more organizations and nonprofits that can really aid our students and help with their mental support and mental health so that these school safety problems do not occur. BCPS does a great job at working with lockdown drills and other physical school safety attributes. However, I think we need to do a better job at improving our student mental health so that we can prevent these problems before they actually occur.
Thank you so much, Sophie and Foresight. For our next climate and safety question, it is, what initiatives do you think are essential for promoting mental health awareness and support within our schools? And we'll begin with Sophie.
Yes, so as I said before, BCPS has taken great strides in supporting student mental health. And we've seen this through the introduction of different initiatives like the Mind Over Matters campaign and the introduction of a free telehealth app, Talkspace, for students. However, this is not enough to support student mental health. And as I said before, we need more support staff in our schools to really be that person for students to go to when they're in a crisis. Now that includes adding more school counselors, more school psychologists, and more school social workers so that students have a person that they can attend to and they can go to when they're in a crisis. And this would also include really advocating and supporting student mental health. As we know, student mental health is directly correlated to student success, both academically and socially. So when we prioritize student mental health within the buildings and within our school system, it shows that we really care about students.
Thank you. Foresight?
So as mentioned, resources such as Talkspace are very beneficial for students and their development. But currently, due to the statewide budget crisis that we're facing, we're also having other issues in terms of addressing the mental health crisis in BCPS. So we're currently going through a school counselor and school psychologist shortage. And even in BCPS, school psychologists, their contracts have been cut from a 12-month term into a 10-month term, reducing 2 months' worth of mental health support for students in Baltimore County and decreasing their pay by 19%. Another issue in Baltimore County is our pay for school psychologists. For example, compared to other counties, it would take a school psychologist in Baltimore County 15 years to reach the base payment of another school psychologist in some other counties. Because of this, BCPS becomes less competitive in hiring school psychologists for students in the county, making it difficult for students to actually have access to these resources. I think it's really important that we close the ratio between students and school psychologists by changing it from 1 to 1,000 to 1 to 500 by hiring more school counselors and school psychologists.